Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the program.
You have a very good introductory voice.
I like to think that I do. As you all may know, I am Ben Ramirez at the Ben Ramirez on Twitter. With me is our special guest for today, Not Kanye West.
I love Kanye, and if you've listened to my newest album, you would know that every day I'm hustling.
Alright, we got a lot of stuff to get to today, so we're going to get right into it. First, how was that quesalupa?
Wait a second. You weren't even going to tell them that the exciting news that this is our first show?
Oh, that's right. This is our first show.
All business, no pleasure.
Well, you know what? When I just got thinking about that quesalupa.
You didn't even have one.
I've had one.
Oh. Well,
I had a steak one.
Okay, for some preface here, what he's inquiring about is, I told him earlier today I had the honor of riding the cheese-filled wings of the quesalupa, or whatever. What's the guy from Star Trek who's in the commercial?
George Takei.
Is that his name?
Takei? Is it Takei?
I call him George the Guy.
I'm going to get stabbed by a Trekkie for this one. I don't know if it's Takei or Takei.
He's Sulu, right?
Yeah, he's
Sulu. He's Sulu.
Okay.
Well, Sulu, I saw when I was watching in the trailers and at Batman Superman, they kept playing this Taco Bell commercial over and over and over, and I'm not going to talk about subliminally wanting to have a quesalupa. It was pretty overtly telling me.
Oh yeah, it's
go.
absolutely overt.
So I decided today to go try one out, and I got the steak quesalupa. And might I add that, okay, this is the only time I'm ever going to say this in my life, but I think it's like $3.50 or something. Call me crazy, but that's very expensive.
It was a lot of money for one taco, because I got an individual one as well. I didn't get like a meal or a box or anything. And I was like, that was almost like $4.
And it comes with its own little tray, like to hold it up.
Yeah,
right.
Like a support bra for
and
a taco.
What's that sauce on there? Is that a sour cream or a creamy blend?
I don't know. It's filled with pepper jack cheese.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, it was all right.
George Takei told me.
Yeah, that's true. I will say this much. Okay, here's my take on the quesalupa. The actual crunchy, cheesy, crusty goodness that is what you're going in for. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, it was delish. But I'm not going to praise Taco Bell's steak. You know, maybe if they team up with Doritos to make a Dorito steak or something. I don't know. You know they do that a lot. PepsiCo will figure something.
A Dorito steak?
I don't know, dude.
Like you crush up Doritos and coat it.
They've made a Dorito everything else, and Doritos come in every flavor in the book. So.
Oh, that is true. I saw biscuits and gravy Lay's at the store.
Oh, Christ.
What would that even taste like?
Well, I mean, I think you answered your own question there.
Oh, I suppose.
All right, so that was my afternoon, prepping for our very first show in a very cheesy Star Trek inspired way.
I find it funny that your way of prepping for this, or your way of spending your afternoon, was eating a quesalupa, and I took the kids to Disney on Ice.
Yeah, how was that?
They put on a really good show. It was a lot of fun. But there was no Frozen characters.
Not at all.
My daughter cried at the end of the show because I kept telling her, oh, they must be saving Anna and Elsa for the end, and they just never showed up. I think it's maybe because they have a Frozen on Ice show and they want you to buy a ticket and go to that.
I mean, it's fucking Disney we're talking about.
Which, by the way, can we just say that Frozen on Ice is the most redundant bullshit name ever?
Wait, so also, just a pause for a second. So we're deciding we can't swear on the show.
Oh yeah, no cussing at all.
All right, sorry, we did.
I'll be going back through and adding beeps every time.
Wait, really?
No, Jesus.
Okay, all right. So we wanted to.
I'll make sure to put on the thumbnail that this is explicit and that there will be full spoilers on every episode. So don't listen to this if you want to not hear spoilers.
Well, no, listen. We want people to listen. Just come in listening, knowing we're going to ruin all your favorite things.
Absolutely. I like if there's not a new movie out in a week, we'll go back and we'll watch like an old movie,
and we'll
spoil the shit out of it.
And if it's on Putlocker, it might not even have come out yet, and we'll spoil it for you.
Yeah, this is going to be a spoil fest.
Anyway, back to our first spoiler of the night is
spoiler Disney
on
Ice.
So we already know Anna and Elsa. So save yourself $17.
Anna and Elsa. Yeah. Now they had all the other characters, some of which they had Baloo and Mowgli. They had Mulan and Mulan's boyfriend, whatever his name was.
Ping? No, Ping was Mulan.
Oh, yeah. The one that was like like kind of attracted to Ping and didn't know how to deal with his feelings, and then was happy but had to pretend he was mad when it turned out she was a girl.
I'm googling Disney on Ice to get the scoop here, but you keep talking about it because I want to see if they promise Frozen and if it's some kind of false advertising.
Oh no, I'd be pissed if they promised it. Jack Skellington was there. He did a cool because the whole thing is built around like the holidays and like times you want to celebrate. So they did a Halloween portion, a Christmas portion, a summer
Jack
vacation.
Skellington kind of hopped for both of those. That's his thing.
Well, no, but he only was in Halloween.
Was it just him or was Sally there too?
No, it was just him.
Ivan Zero.
And then they just had a bunch of like various people.
Okay.
They had basically all the princesses except for Frozen, Brave. All the ones where there isn't a prince.
Okay, but their names aren't Frozen and Brave.
No, I mean the princess. Like they didn't have Merida, Anna, or Elsa.
I didn't know their names.
None of those have a prince to go with them. They're all kind of like strong, independent women, and I find that funny that like they're like, no, if we're gonna have a girl skating, we need to have a guy to pick her up.
Well, that's for safety's sake, though, isn't it?
No, a girl can skate on her own.
That is, I mean, I know that, but aren't a lot of theirs about doing like acrobatic tricks?
Well, they did do a lot of like lifts and stuff, but. What I'm saying is, they could have had Merida come out with her bow and arrow and, skate around the ice and shoot fake arrows or something. They could have had
Anna and Elsa come out. Have her shoot real arrows. How much did you pay for those tickets?
I think they were like $20 a piece.
20 per, and regardless of age?
I don't know.
You paid $20 to have a newborn baby go see...
Oh, no, I don't think we paid for the baby.
Well, what I'm saying is that if you're paying $20 a person, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but still, I want to see some real arrows.
I mean, it's a lot of money when I'm taking 4 people.
Yeah, so you want to see some real arrows. I mean, you didn't get to see the Ice Queen, so might as well see...
That's true. And the folks from Mulan didn't even have swords.
They didn't.
They did have a Chinese, like, dragon thing, though. A bunch of people, like... came out, and when the Toy Story crew came out, that was pretty cool because they had like someone who clearly must be bent over because it was the piggy bank. I can't remember the piggy bank's name. Ham something.
Ham.
It just like it didn't look like a dude in a costume. It just looked like a gigantic piggy bank skating around the rink.
Well, good.
And they had Rex, and he was like 8 feet tall. It's fantastic.
All right, so I have 2 questions. Mm-hmm. First, any sight of any obscure Disney characters?
Well, they had Jessie from Toy Story 2. I don't know how obscure you consider.
She became pretty mainstream by the third one.
They had Lilo and Stitch, but
they're friends.
But at first it was the sister and the guy. They came out, and then Lilo and Stitch came out. So at first it was just like, who are these 2 people skating around?
Were they Hawaiian or were they white people?
Well, they did it as part of like a Hawaiian segment, which that was probably the coolest part because what we didn't see was at some point they laid a ring of some kind of flammable liquid on the ice. So the guy came out with a torch and he hit it, and he was standing in the middle as he got like a ring of fire on him.
Was it a tiki torch?
Yeah, that type of thing. And then he was like twirling the baton with the fires on opposite ends. So that was pretty neat. To see fire on the ice. But then, Lilo and Stitch came out and it was like, oh, okay, that's the dude from Lilo and Stitch.
So they killed it. Lilo and Stitch came out of ruined it. Like, you were having a good time with the fire and the ice and all that kind of stuff, but then...
Well, then my daughter was like, oh, it's Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, it went from being
Before it was just like, oh, look, it's a shirtless, like, shaved boy with fire.
It was a boy or was it a man?
Well, I mean, it was a man, but he...
Because how you were describing it, it sounded like Khal Drogo came out and they were going to get really...
No. He was, like... maybe 19, and he was a skinny little thing.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Never mind.
He looked like you...
So Daenerys Targaryen came out.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so the second question was just, since we've spent something like fucking 6 minutes talking about Disney on Ice, all right, give us your take then. The Quesalupa got a 10 out of 10. Quesalupa got a 10 out of 10 in shell quality. The steak... 2.
You know what? But it was a good show. It was broken into 2 halves with a 15-minute intermission, which I liked that they put that in the middle.
Dude, this doesn't have to be an in-depth analysis here.
It didn't have Frozen, and you gotta have Frozen. It's the biggest grosser that Disney's ever had. So, and of course there was no Star Wars.
You know what? Hold on. I think you're talking about specific films because Mickey Mouse has definitely made way more money in his lifetime than Frozen.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And there was no Avengers, there was no Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker.
Well, because they don't.
That would have been badass.
No, it's because there's Marvel on Ice is also a thing, and Star Wars on Ice is.
Yeah, but if not it's Disney on Ice, that you would think it would be all the Disneys.
Sure, all right. So
and the show would have been half an hour longer. The show was short for how expensive it was. I'd give it a 7.
Okay, so a C.
It was a good show, but it could have been longer, and we could have had more characters.
If you could go to the matinee without the kids, would you do it?
The matinee of Disney on Ice?
Yeah, just go again.
Like, just me and the wife?
Yeah, or just,
like me by myself?
Just you. Give it
in
a second
trench coat.
I'm just saying
wearing nothing underneath.
You described that Hawaiian boy pretty seductively, so I mean, if you can go for another take, why not?
For a matinee, you know what? If I had a free afternoon, I might. There's some cool pyrotechnics. There's some really cool tricks.
Right.
There's a funny bit where Mickey Mouse stole the Mad Hatter's hat, and like they played a game of pass, and actually there's some really cool tricks with that.
Wait, so they had the Mad Hatter, but they didn't have...
Yeah, they had the whole...
They didn't have Olaf?
They had a lot of people from Alice in Wonderland. Mad Hatter, Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
Sebastian the Crab? He's from Little Mermaid.
No, they had the Little Mermaid and Eric?
Yeah, the prince.
White Aladdin.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
White Aladdin. White Aladdin is in the credits.
They didn't have any of the fish folk.
Sebastian the Crab is the man, dude. He's he's got that Calypso thing going on.
When they had the Toy Story crew on there, they had an army guy and a troll, like a troll doll. The troll doll, was there even a troll doll in Toy Story?
Yeah, of course.
And if there was, did it have a single line?
No, but it definitely walked around.
You mean to tell me that it was a character that had no lines and they couldn't shoehorn in one Frozen character? I mean, it's because they want you to buy a ticket to Frozen.
No, and to be also, I think Olaf is off doing bigger, better things. I mean, he's making his solo album. He's touring Mexico right now, so Olaf, he's got...
Didn't Jonah Hill voice Olaf?
No, dude. No.
Dude, I'm going to look that shit up right now.
No. Olaf is... the voice sounds like him, but no, the guy who voices Olaf is a skinny white guy, not a chubby Jewish guy.
All right, well, as we are going on to the next segment here, I am going to Google who voiced Olaf.
You know what, and when we set up our Twitter account here, and we start getting a plethora of you lovely listeners, you can also tweet us if you want to correct us about stupid things that we say, like your take on the Quesalupa, or whether or not you think Frozen... Actually, if you're Olaf listening in, you can tweet us about Mexico. That'd be kind of cool.
It was actually Josh Gad.
Oh!
Not Jonah Hill.
Of course!
Josh Gad is just... another version of Jonah Hill.
Gad. You know what? For all of you out there who know who Josh Gad is, I will consider buying you tickets to Frozen on Ice or whatever to go see it.
Sorry, Josh. I mistook you for an actor of better prominence.
Wait, so Josh Gad wasn't in The Wolf of Wall Street? Get the hell out of here!
That was
Leo.
That was Leo.
What if they get Leo?
You know what? On Ice? Complete side note: I was listening to this other program earlier this week where they were talking about now that Leo has finally gotten his Oscar, he can do whatever he wants. And someone said, like, "Will you be a superhero?" And he was like, "I might be in a superhero movie, whatever." You know what I mean? Because like everything he's done has been so artistic.
So Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be the Riddler then, because we've been wanting that to happen since Titanic.
I think he'd be a good Riddler.
I think he'd be a badass Riddler. But
you know what? I was talking about, like, what if we were going to pitch, like, the next role for Leo?
The Riddler.
You're saying
the Riddler in the solo Batman. Well, the script's written. Ben Affleck this week, this is big news if you haven't heard it yet.
Oh, no,
Ben Affleck has written a solo Batman movie script, and he talked to Jeff Johns about it. Jeff Johns, the chief creative officer at DC, who's a producer on all the DC movies and everything like that. At least credited. And so he's talked to Jeff Johns, and he has a script ready to go. Rumor mill is that he might direct it, but we don't know. I think that'd be fantastic. He knows his way behind the camera pretty well.
He's a good director.
Yeah, and we'll discuss our feelings on Ben as Batman when we get into BVS.
Get to the main thing.
Dawn of Justice.
Now, I will say that if we were pitching, like going back to pitching for Leo,
right?
My thought was, you know how they're doing the anthology films for the Star Wars series?
Okay.
Do a prequel to the prequels where we see how Darth Sidious becomes the Dark Lord of the Sith, like show him as the apprentice to Darth Plagueis, and have Leonardo DiCaprio play Darth Sidious.
Oh, I wouldn't like that at all.
Really?
He doesn't look anything like Palpatine.
Well, that doesn't matter.
No, and also...
Palpatine looks like burnt hamburger.
Palpatine has... It's true. Palpatine has that weird accent that Leo can do accents, but not... he can do, like, that southern accent.
Did you see Django Unchained?
No, I was about to say, he can do that cool southern accent, but I don't think
But I'm not talking about the accent. I'm talking about his actual character. Mr. Candy from from Candyland.
Yeah, but I don't think he can do that.
But the smugness of Palpatine, but also like the anger, and then he's got all those angry grunts that he likes to use, like in The Revenant.
But here's the other thing: I don't think anybody wants to see that movie. I don't know if anyone wants to. Like, if they want to go see Star Wars, everyone right now is freaking out about what the hell's going to happen to Rey and Finn. Like, oh, spoiler alert! If you didn't see Star Wars. We're
going to talk Star Wars in an episode coming up very soon.
If for some reason you have not seen The Force Awakens, just turn this off right now and go commit Japanese rituals.
I was going to say, you get seppuku'd right now.
Yeah, because that's...
Harry carry that
You've had, what, 4 months to watch Star Wars, so... Yeah, but I think that people are more interested in finding out, what happened, like what the hell's going to happen to John Boyega since the movie ended ambiguously if he's alive.
They're not going to kill John Boyega. That would be
no, you know what?
Disney's not that brave.
You know what? That would be the spin of the century.
It would be super great.
It turns out that he was just dead. That you thought he was alive.
Like the next movie starts
and Rey comes back and they're like, sorry, like he didn't make it. FN, what was his number? FN 218. I don't know. But Finn, he got the Finn. Well, Finn didn't get it. Sorry, Rey. Like Finn was a great guy, but he didn't make it.
Actually, it'd be great is if there's like a split montage of her training with Luke, and then
him just dying.
Just like the funeral pyre scene that they did in episode 6 and in episode 1.
Yeah,
so
him burning
while they're training. It's just him burning.
And they could show like a split screen of half the screen is her running with Luke on her back, like Yoda on Luke's back, and the other end of the screen is just him lying in an incubator, and like their heartbeats like dee dee dee. Hers really fast because she's jumping over stuff. Use the forces. It's just wild. Alright, so heads up at Lucasfilm and Disney.
We pitched you episode 8.
No, and Leo DiCaprio can be the doctor who pulls the plug at John Boyega.
Oh, there you go.
Cameo. There you go. No, it could be a big role. He sort of breaks the bad news. And
wait, you mean to say that the death of John Boyega is going to be like one of the major through lines of episode 8? Like, he doesn't die until the end?
No, he dies at the beginning of the movie, and then they deal with the ramifications of it. It's like the year without Superman after Superman died. The year without John Boyega.
So long as we're talking pitches before we get to, like, the main thing of the night, what would you see as your episode 8?
Star Wars?
Yeah, like, not John Boyega dying. What do you see as your real pitch?
You can't say that when I'm drinking a Coke. I'm going to spit all over the computer. Okay, so I really think that episode 8... jokes aside, it's going to be the death of John Boyega. No.
Not Finn. John Boyega.
Yeah, who the hell is Finn?
They're going to kill him behind the scenes.
You know what? No, I think that here's my hope for episode 8. One, we get a lot more Poe Dameron, because he was a badass. And
absolutely.
He came to open that movie and talk to that old guy, who we still don't know who that is, I'm assuming, but he knows the Force, so... But then he kind of just disappeared until he came back with John Boyega. I can't even say his name without having a chuckle now. But I think that my hopes are that it kind of follows Poe Dameron and... You say it. I can't say his name.
John Boyega. Yeah. Finn. Yeah, we should say Finn. Because now his name is just a trigger word.
It is. Well, him and Finn and whatever they're doing, and the First Order getting their shit back together. Simultaneously Rey learning with Luke, and we're going to kind of get some more information on Rey's lineage. I am not on team 100%. I think Rey is Luke's daughter, or Rey is Kylo Ren's sister, which are like the two leading themes in my opinion. I don't know. I think this is something we could talk about later in life.
Yeah, no. And we might have a whole episode devoted to, what we think.
Star Wars 8 predictions. We can even look it up online.
Me personally, what I see as it's going to be like a split training, where we're going to see how Rey is being taught the ways of the Force by Luke, and how Kylo Ren is being taught the ways of the dark side by Supreme Leader Snoke, who will eventually be revealed to be Darth Plagueis. I'm calling it.
No, because Darth Plagueis isn't it pretty much confirmed that he was like a different species that have like big heads and stuff?
Did you see Darth Plagueis? He was not a human.
No, he wasn't a human, but he didn't have like a big cone head. He had like a squish.
No.
He looked like Dobby from Harry Potter. He looked like a mean.
He did not look a thing like Dobby.
Look up Dobby and it just scarred him.
I don't have to. I've seen the movie recently. But
they have some ancestors.
Yeah, they both have 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. In any case, Supreme Leader Snoke. One of the big things that people say, like, oh, he's Darth Plagueis, is that when you see him, like the song for Supreme Leader Snoke is almost identical to the song that plays, and the only time it plays is when Palpatine is telling Anakin about how Darth Plagueis the Wise and how he was killed.
And no part of that might just be because
apprentice.
Might be because
it might be a coincidence.
Revenge of the Sith was the most recent Star Wars movie, so they were just connecting.
It might be a coincidence, but it's just that would be a big coincidence that there's a song called Darth Plagueis the Wise on the Revenge of the Sith soundtrack, and then the song for Supreme Leader Snoke is the same song.
Well, to be fair, Star Wars does use a lot of musical cues for characters and story arcs and that kind of thing.
Exactly. So. That's why I would say that maybe they're making that connection. But beside the point, I think that there's going to be like a lot of training, like a Rocky IV training.
Oh, I wouldn't like a montage.
Well, I don't think it'll be an actual montage, but I think
the whole movie's a montage.
I think the over the course of the movie, and then we'll see Finn and Poe, like you said, doing some stuff on the side, fighting against the First Order. I find it interesting that like Rey is clearly the new Luke, Kylo Ren is the new Darth Vader, Poe Dameron, I would argue, is the new Han Solo, more than Finn. Finn, and this might just sound right. He's the new Lando, isn't he?
Oh, I mean, no. I think that you're trying to look for Star Wars archetypes
he's the tricky one.
No, I don't. But I don't think they fit any of them like that specific mold of this person's this person. I mean, obviously there's some.
Well, yeah, not exactly. But I mean, Rey is the Force user who's also a great pilot.
But she's also had a lot of Han Solo in her, being kind of a badass and a smuggler, and so.
And if it turns out he's not her dad, maybe she did have a lot of Han Solo in her.
Well, he did really offer.
He
offered her a job really quickly.
It would turn out weird if it turns out she's his dad and he doesn't know, and they like make out. It would be an interesting callback.
You just said it would be weird if she was his dad. If she turns out to be Han Solo's dad, you know what?
Star Wars, man.
They will have outdone the Phantom Menace.
Woo.
And I'm still waiting for Jar Jar to come back. You know what? I will go on record here to say that I don't hate Jar Jar 100% of the time.
I'm gonna punch you in the
No, 100% of the time. Every now and then, I do get a good chuckle out of Jar Jar, like when that thing farts and he goes, "Hey, Yusa." That scene is completely superfluous and stupid, but in hindsight...
That's the thing. It takes you out of the movie, because it's like, oh, he's a cartoon character, not, oh, he's a being in this universe.
Actually, the exact opposite. It takes me into the film, because I think I can smell it. It is stinky, Jar Jar. Like, how are we going to race? How are we going to race on Tatooine with the fart from that thing?
And then he licks the lightning bolt, and he's like... No,
that part was unrealistic. That would have melted his tongue off.
All right, well, so... we can at least agree that Episode 1 is better than Episode 2, right? I mean, you had the sweet lightsaber sequence. Attack of
the Clones had
no redeeming features.
You know what? Let's just save our Star Wars talk for another.
Yeah, you know what? Our next episode will be a Star Wars bonanza. We'll discuss all 7 movies, not in super detail, but
in detail,
enough detail
to last an hour show.
In any case, let's go over just some before we hit the main story. Let's talk about a couple funny things.
Well, you can talk about whatever you would like, and we will be the ones to decide if it's funny or not.
Okay, these are 3 headlines I pulled from the news this week. A rat, you guys can watch this video, look it up on YouTube, it's very, very short. A rat climbed on a sleeping man on the subway in Manhattan, and the guy didn't wake up until the thing was like on his head, and then he shrieks in horror. Is there a more New York thing than a rat mugging a guy on a subway?
If afterwards it went to 5th Avenue and bought a fake handbag.
I don't think anyone... Well, yeah, actually...
Sorry, did I say 5th Avenue? I meant Cartel Street.
There you go.
Or Canal Street.
There you go. Alright, next point. two different tractor trailers crashed on an interstate. I don't know exactly where, but one of them was filled with Lay's potato chips, and the other one was filled with beer. I don't know what brand.
So none of the biscuit and gravy chips you were talking about?
It might have been.
Huh.
They collided and spread beer and potato chips all over the interstate. That is the most frat boy collision that's, I think, ever happened.
You know what would have been great is, did you say where they were headed or no?
No, I have no idea. Well, I just read the headline and wrote it down.
It would have been awesome if they were like on their way to the Final Four, this weekend to go to something, and they crashed, and it was like the NCAA Final Four presented by Lay's and Budweiser. And
then they just panned to a shot of two dead truck drivers.
No, the truck drivers. No. I was thinking like people like literally on the interstate partying in the streets, eating chips,
just
drinking beer off of
out of potholes.
Yeah, but I mean, because that's what Budweiser tastes like anyway.
Yeah,
it just like beer out of a pothole,
like just rain runoff
with pieces of soggy chip in it anyway. So I mean, it's not any different.
Budweiser, the fresh maker.
You know what? They should actually name their newest Lay's potato chip flavor,
Budweiser pothole.
No, destroyed gravel.
Oh yeah.
Or like
mouthful of asphalt.
Truck driver sweat and tears.
Okay.
Hold on though, but did anyone get hurt in that? We're joking.
Again, I just read the headline, so I didn't get into the details of it.
We hope that everyone's okay. Particularly,
yeah, of course.
No,
especially all of the first responders that might get food poisoning from eating chips.
Yeah, or the poor drunk asshole driving the Lay's potato chip. We hope he's all right too.
Yeah, and of course for all of the birds that are about to get wasted, eating beer-soaked potato chips off the side of the highway because they didn't take the time to pick all those up.
You know what though? I really hope there were no salt and vinegar ones there. I would R.I.P. to actually the true victim in this is the salt and vinegar chips. Yeah. We hope that they're okay. Pray for the families of the salt and vinegar chips.
We were going to pour one out for our homies, but the truck actually poured out like 800,000 gallons, so that's okay.
Yeah, it poured it out for everyone's homies.
Yeah, anyone who's ever died. The third little thing I found here, which I found hilarious, there's a video you can find online right now. Apparently, a mall Easter bunny got involved in some manner of brawl. I don't know what caused it, but the guy pulled off the bunny head and, while still in the bunny body, got into a fist fight with another guy at the mall.
Wait, he got
arrested.
He revealed his secret identity?
Yeah, he just was he looked like a homeless dude.
Well, let's not stereotype. But.
Okay, well, he looked...
At least he's employed.
Yeah, no.
Actually, hold on a second. We're assuming. We're hoping he was employed.
He might have just been.
He might have just had at Easter.
And by the way, I don't want to make it sound like. I don't think he looked homeless because he was a black guy. I think he looked homeless because in the video he looks dirty and disheveled. But maybe that's just because he's been in a bunny costume for hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean that onto being a mascot and maybe just. Weasel away from the other assumptions we might make.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to be like, oh, this podcast is... Anyway, that's beside the point. The point is...
What was the bunny costume? Was the bunny costume dirty or was that clean? Because that's the really determining factor.
It seemed clean. It seemed like he was at work.
Well, then fuck you, man. Like, good for him. Good for you, bunny guy. Hey, if you're out there listening to us, bunny guy, you're not. But if you are, good for you, bro. I'm on your team.
He's in a cell right now.
Well, hey, they have the internet.
But yeah, he by the time I saw the video, it's just a guy in a bunny costume minus the bunny head, so it's just a guy in a furry fat suit, like throwing punches at some other guy, and they get pulled off for one another and arrested. I mean... What a way for kids to learn that there's no such thing as the Easter Bunny, right?
I just can't believe he was so willing to give up his secret identity. I mean, from previous, past experience, I know that if you're in one of those costumes, you sign an NDA that you're going to stay in character until the end of your shift and then get out of character in secret. So, if he just... you know what? I take back my applause for you, bunny guy. You were quick to drop
you scarred those children. You should be ashamed of yourself. Even if we were standing up for somebody or whatever the situation was, because I don't know why you were in that fight. You could have been protecting a woman's honor.
You know what? Because of, just for the sake of the Easter pun, it sounds like a real basket case to me. Haha. Easter basket. You gotta get a good Easter pun in there.
Yep.
All right. Enough of the funny business in the news. I'll give you a couple of those were funny.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to our main point, shall we talk about our Geek of the Week?
Yeah, so once a week on the show, we pick someone who is our honorary Geek of the Week, and there is no criteria of how we determine who.
Yeah, the Geek of the Week could be Peyton Manning.
It could be you.
Yeah,
It could be you.
It's just someone that we think that they did something good this week.
Or amusing.
Yeah.
And we couldn't say the excellent character of the week. It doesn't have the same vernacular.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind
sweetness.
of a geeky podcast, so Geek of the Week works.
Yeah.
In any case, our Geek of the Week, we want to talk about Anderson Cooper this week.
The Coop 360.
Because he obviously needs, a little promotion. His career's not doing well.
Oh, Anderson was awesome. I mean, actually, fun fact.
I'm being facetious.
Oh, absolutely. But our man Anderson, who cameoed in BVS in Dawn of Justice.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Among others.
Yeah, but it was cool to see Anderson there, and so he,
wearing his awesome tight t-shirts,
helping Batman and Supes do their thing. But also this week, talking about he did quite a lengthy interview with Mr. Donald Trump.
Well, he did one with many of them. But,
right. Well, most notably. With presidential candidate and Republican frontrunner, Mr. Donald Trump. And let me preface this by saying that on the show here, we're not here to talk about politics or tell you what to believe. But
I think we can all agree that man is, in fact, a supervillain.
Like, I've been saying it since day one. He's fucking Lex Luthor.
Now, not Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor.
No.
Not the Max Landis-y sort of thing that he went with. Much more like the Clancy... I don't even want to say Clancy Brown, because he's not that smooth. He's just like Lex Luthor, minus all of the things that make Lex Luthor good. He's just a crazy rich businessman that hates any kind of alien and has his eyes set on the White House.
And also has a series of failed endeavors.
Absolutely.
But somehow still has a lot of money. And when faced with adversity, doesn't know what to do other than say that he's great.
And will ultimately be beaten by a guy who wants everyone to get a piece, stands up for truth, justice, and the American way, and was created by 2 Jews. Got him!
And he also puts his fucking name on everything. Lex Corp, Lex Division of Research, Lex whatever... Trumpity, Trump.
Yeah. I'm convinced that he actually doesn't even want to be the president.
Okay, hold on.
He just wants to put the word Trump on the White House.
Yeah, the Trump House. But we digress. So, back to the focus here.
Anderson Cooper.
The Coop Man. So, Anderson did his interview with Donald, and it's in CNN's website. You can look at it in segments. And I actually watched it on Saturday morning, so yesterday morning.
Tell us about it.
Well, Anderson was able to stand up to the Trump man and stick to his guns with all of his points, and yet, very nobly, tried to compliment Donald on being tenacious, and obviously leading in most polls right now, but he did not take any shit from Donald, and it was cool.
Well, and that's a big deal, because Anderson, I think, has received a lot of flack for the fact that he is not quick to give a lot of follow-up questions, because CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, whatever it may be, they're really afraid of offending, Donald Trump, and then he won't show up for their things like he did with Megyn Kelly at the debate of a couple months ago. So he can say something outlandish like, I want to set all babies on fire. And they'll be like, really? And how's your wife? You know what I mean? Like, they don't ask him follow-up questions.
Well, I would say this much. Anderson wasn't necessarily like grilling him over a fire or anything, but he certainly was asking him direct questions and having the data to back it up. So and just kind of telling him, like, you're making these statements, but where's your evidence? Like, what are you trying to say? And then, interestingly enough, Donald got very flustered when Anderson brought up a couple polls that actually showed negative things for Donald, and Donald was like, oh, well, did you come up here to tell me about these polls I've never heard about, these negative polls? Like, there's lots of good polls, Donald Trump, happy, good, whatever. And Anderson was like, I started our interview by mentioning how you're leading in the polls and mentioning the good polls, and Donald Trump literally was like a deer in headlights. And from personal experience, I enjoy watching him look like a deer.
Do you think the subtext of that was Anderson Cooper telling Donald Trump to go fuck himself?
Absolutely. I think that's the subtext. Anderson Cooper was doing what every single person at CNN wanted him to do. But the thing was that, interestingly enough, and this is why my applause to Anderson, is that he was able to sit through it, and that interview went longer than and he makes a mention of this, that interview went longer than Donald Trump said it was supposed to be, but then Donald just kept talking. Big
That's all he does.
Big surprise. But even CNN, like, no one told Anderson, like, no, you got to cut it short, or like the producers weren't saying anything because Anderson was killing it and they were letting Donald was talking. And here's the thing: I must admit, some of his responses didn't get me to like Donald Trump or anything like that. Absolutely not. But he is well trained. I've seen the clips of him just being an idiot, talking about he has good words, but some of his responses were clearly rehearsed, but at least he's beginning to try to maybe be more of a legitimate candidate. And by beginning to try, I mean, for that interview, he seemed like he was trying. He's still not a...
Well, he's still reeling from when Chris Matthews freaking grilled him about that abortion thing just a few days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Matthews came at him hard, and that's because that's a particular issue that's close to Chris Matthews. He has very strong opinions when it comes to abortion. And so when he was like, really? So do you think that we should punish the women? I mean, if you're calling it murder, then you think that we should probably punish them as murderers.
And I saw the clip.
And, Donald Trump was finally like, yeah, we probably should, because he thought that's what Republican voters wanted to hear, and even pro-life groups are like, no, we don't stand for that.
Everybody hated that.
Yeah, so now he has to backpedal. Anyway, this is not a political blog, so
so it's not a blog at all. But
we're dogs with a blog.
So the final word is, congratulations, Anderson. You will be receiving your check of $0
and 0 cents
in the mail, and we will give you 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, and for anyone out there, by the way, that doesn't like that choice, maybe tweet in at the Ben Ramirez or at what's your Twitter handle?
You know what? I think it's. Let me look that up. I don't really use my Twitter too much. I'm gonna have to start.
Well, then tweet at the Ben Ramirez with suggestions for who's our Geek of the Week for next week.
It's at Ramrez, RAMREZ, the number 4, Prez, PREZ.
Okay, so at the Ben Ramirez or at Ramrez for Prez, tweet at us and let us know
you can nominate
who you think should be Geek of the Week for next week.
And have at least one solid reason. So if it's just like the guy who made you the quesalupa...
I'm surprised you even know his name.
Yeah.
Actually, that's impressive. Okay, should we go into the main topic, or should we talk about our...
No. The time has come.
Okay, main topic.
So, this past weekend, 9, 10 days ago, we were blessed with, and this is going to be what has become a very divisive topic.
Oh yeah, and this is going to be a divisive discussion.
Perhaps, of the glorious, finally the uniting,
the film.
The most iconic characters in comic book history, and the beginning of the DC movie universe.
Well, the beginning was Man of Steel,
Batman.
but
this is the first
big push.
And this is what really is making it into an extended universe. So, Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
All right, now, right from the top, let's. What's your out of 10?
Oh, you want to right from the top?
Because I'm not going to change your opinion.
No, we're not here to argue about about what we're reviewing the film. We're here to just talk about the movie.
Yeah. What would you say out of 10?
Okay, so...
And if you say 10 out of 10, I'm going to walk out.
No, I know. I gave it I've seen the movie, full disclosure, I've seen the movie 5 times.
Jesus.
So, I have a pretty thorough analysis of it. I actually went and saw it yesterday afternoon because I knew we'd be doing the show and talking about it. I would give it a 9.
A 9 out of 10?
Oh, yeah, and I can back up all my reasoning why. Okay. Remember, I'm a diehard DC Comics fan.
Well, and here's the other thing. I liked the movie. I really did. I don't think anyone who's seen... Well, that's a lie. Some people hate the movie, but most people who have seen the movie really like it.
Actually, I read an article today about the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it's funny because they did an investigative journalist went through and read almost every single review on Rotten Tomatoes, and the average score the movie was actually given on the reviews was usually around a 6.8 out of 10. was
Okay.
the average score.
I was going to
So
say 7.
that's good to great. Is if we're IGN does IGN no 7's good, a 6 is okay.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say
an okay
7.
to good. I mean, but Rotten Tomatoes was rating those as rotten reviews. So that's just interesting.
Well, yeah, the tomato meter is not. For sure.
And there, from that investigation found that 72% had positive things to say about the movie, the overall tone of the review. So it really should be a 72%, not a 29 that it is right now. But
yeah. Well, in any case, all right. So this whole segment might get a little interesting because I'm going to explain the things that I thought could have been done differently. I'm going to explain how I would have done them differently if I was the director.
Spoilers.
And, yeah, full spoilers. And Josh, you're probably going to just argue me on every point as to why the movie's fine the way it is.
No, I mean I would just go ahead.
But okay, so right out of the gate, I think the opening of the movie is fantastic. I think the opening, where you have Batman driving around the city trying to save people, where you have the ship cutting through buildings like a hot knife through butter.
The first sequence of the movie, you're sold on. Bruce Wayne is brave as all.
For me, one of the best parts of the entire movie is that opening sequence. Now, seeing a little boy fall down a well and get picked up by a bunch of bats. I know it's a dream sequence and it's supposed to be symbolic, but it's way too on the nose. It immediately made me go, "What the hell is going on?
Okay,
this is silly."
You need to. But here's my thing, though: is that you should catch on that it's a dream instantly because Martha gets shot, a pearl falls, and you see a pearl land in the well.
No, and I knew it was a dream sequence.
Yeah, so.
But it was a stupid dream sequence.
No,
and this movie is littered with stupid dream sequences.
I disagree, but...
Okay, well, that's going to be a point where we differ. So I think the first segment was great.
Hold on. I don't disagree that there's a lot of dream sequences. But I feel like that they all have some kind of purpose.
Okay, here's my problem with if we're going to start with dream sequences as the first subject of conversation, because it's going to be too hard to just remember everything in the movie, beat for beat.
I saw it 5 times.
I know, not for you, but I've only seen it the one time. But I have my opinion, and I've voiced it before. All right, so here's what I see about the dream sequences. We didn't need the Man-Bat one. I know maybe they're using that as foreshadowing that Man-Bat is going to come up later in the series. Or maybe that was just supposed to be like, oh, that is the Batman, and that it's killing Bruce. I don't know what he was going for. I thought maybe it's a foreshadowing, and that Man-Bat is going to be used in one of the solo flips.
No, that wasn't Man-Bat.
How was that not Man-Bat?
No,
it was a man-like bat.
It was just.
Those are the only criteria to be Man-Bat.
No, it was. That's not. You're missing the point. That what was more important in that sequence was the Martha and the blood coming out of it. That's the important part of that. Because that's making the connection about that. This is why a lot of people talk about the end. Obviously, we'll talk about that also. That, oh my God, why did they just stop fighting because Superman said Martha? And it's not because it's that Martha theme is repeated throughout the movie, and that dream sequence is because he's at Martha's grave. Martha's grave starts bleeding, and then broken out of Martha's grave is this haunting that the bats come from because that experience is what birthed Batman.
So you think that what that scene means is that because of the parents dying, he becomes Batman.
The bats
and that's what that dream
him.
sequence
is. Yeah, and that big bat thing is
Don't
just the bat
we know that?
Him.
Doesn't everyone who knows Batman already knows that?
But the reason why
didn't they already do that with the first dream sequence?
No, but the reason why they're including it is to re-emphasize the Martha component. That it's tying that thread through the whole thing. That his dad's last words are Martha. Martha's gets shot, and the pearls fall into the well. Mm-hmm. So the pearls joined him. Martha's death joins him as he's brought up by the bats. Then the blood. It's foreshadowing that later on the blood of Martha is brought him into the world of bats, but also is later going to bring him connected to Superman, trying to prevent Martha from dying.
Okay. Here's my point about that. The first dream sequence and the second dream sequence, for me, we didn't need them. Now, hang on before you go on. I feel like there are several scenes in this movie that we didn't need, and what we should have done was cut those out and use the same time to put in some scenes that would have filled in blanks that people are not happy about. All right, and we'll get to that in a minute. So
hold on, time out. Remember we're talking about what you and I are happy about. Who cares about people?
No, but I mean the general consensus.
Well, what you're no the gen no what you
and I'm part of the general consensus.
What you're unhappy about.
In this case, you're arguing as super fan. I'm arguing as general viewer. Now, I have more comic book knowledge than probably the majority of general viewers, but yeah, that's where it is. As far as the major dream sequence is concerned, the dystopian future,
the nightmare.
Injustice, Gods Among Us sort
the
of
nightmare.
thing. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't looked into the Injustice comics, the comic series that runs with the Injustice storyline, parallel to main canon, it's fantastic. They're like halfway through their year 5. Mm-hmm. So go back through. If you're not going to read the whole thing, go on like Comic Historian or something and watch the videos. They're fantastic.
Especially if you played the game. It's the 5 years leading up to, in between the beginning of the game and when the game actually starts.
Yeah, it's just... Well, no, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Because some of the characters that are in the game have already been killed off.
Well, no, the game, the comic books are because the game has Superman. Yeah,
no, I think they're based on the same story.
No,
it's not necessarily like what happens in the game is also part of the comic.
No, it is. It's the Superman kills the Joker, and then it says 5 years later. The comic books are those 5 years.
Oh, okay. Isn't Green Arrow in the game?
I mean, I
thought Green Arrow was in the game. Maybe I'm thinking of the old Justice League game.
Well, remember also that when the game starts is when the other universe, the main universe characters get brought in. So a lot of people who are dead in the Injustice universe are alive in the main universe.
Okay,
like Lois Lane is alive in the main universe, and she's dead. She's the reason why Superman is apeshit. So
Superman beats
and Joker's
death.
And Joker's also a character who's dead in the Injustice universe, but then
in the Injustice universe
comes over from the other ones.
In the last volume, they hinted that Joker's coming back.
Okay,
but maybe they mean that he's coming from the other universe. Anyway, doesn't matter. If you haven't had a chance to look at them. They're fantastic. Now, the Injustice, Gods Among Us sort of dystopian future where Superman is clearly the despot or whatever. I think it was super cool, and it was interesting that in that future we see Batman shooting guns, but in the rest of the movie we don't see him shooting actual guns. He's only shooting smoke grenades or tracer rounds or whatever, which is fine. I had no problem with that. I like the idea that you see this future in which Batman is completely given up on the idea that there's some kind of sanctity to life, and he's just killing everybody because everything's gone to shit. And then the parademons show up, and you see the dark side symbol, and that's great. I thought that was well done. And then they cut from that and make it a dream sequence within a dream sequence, which is... I mean, I don't like that trope. I think it's kind of cliche in movies where someone wakes up and then they think they wake up and then wake up again.
Well, I think you're missing the point. They're calling it a dream. It's more so like a vision, because the Flash is obviously communicating with him through the Speed Force. So.
Right. Now, here's my problem with that. I have no problems with Barry Allen coming through the Speed Force and talking to Bruce Wayne. That type of thing happens in the comic books.
Well, it's specific.
However...
Well, okay, go ahead.
They didn't indicate to the audience that. They're just going based on the assumption that the audience either A, reads the comics and knows that, or B, is going to just accept whatever it was and wait to find out when they watch the next movie.
Which is fantastic. This is one thing I like about is that unlike, and no offense, I do like the Marvel movies, but unlike them, this movie doesn't spoon feed you. It doesn't waste time on exposition because it doesn't have to. And that's the thing is that if you are there going to people going to go see that and be confused? Well, sure, but a lot of people went to see Jurassic World and are like, oh, how did this whole dinosaurs on this island thing even happen? And I know you watch the other Jurassic Parks, you'll know whatever. But what I'm saying is that you go in and you see this and you're just like, whoa, who's that talking to him? But everyone knows it's the Flash, and if they don't know it's the Flash, you find out later that it was the Flash.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
What I'm saying is that this movie does I think did a great job in not needing to hold your hand and walk you through it and say, oh, Master Bruce, what just happened? Oh, Alfred, I just saw a vision, and it might have been something
I understand.
And it seems to be a time traveler from the future.
And I agree that is, because, I mean...
It lets you connect the dots.
That's silly, and I agree with you there. However, that scene alone makes this movie not a standalone film.
Well, it's not.
All of the Marvel movies, whether you like them or not, are standalone movies that then they throw in something at the end to connect it to the next
right, but
movie.
just give it
or
just,
back to the universe.
But this was never supposed to be a standalone movie. Even
but what if it made no money and they canceled the other projects?
Well,
then it would just be a big turd.
No, okay, hold on a second. You're hopping.
The movie has to be a self-contained film,
and it is. But at the same time, it's like Empire Strikes Back. So Empire Strikes Back is its own movie, even though at the end Han Solo is gone. And they're leaving to try and go. Lando and them are going to go.
And that was a gamble. Yeah. That was a gamble, and
this is also a gamble. This has been mentioned that it's seen as a trilogy. Chris Terrio and David Goyer talked about this. That Man of Steel was the beginning of a trilogy, and this trilogy that they're trying to tell ends with Justice League Part 1. And so that's the
end of DC Phase 1.
No, just of whatever this. There's a greater story with a lot of different connections, but this
Wonder Woman takes place,
and this is what I'm saying is this is going to be the story. It's Wonder Woman is going to be before and after.
It's going to be like Captain America 1,
but this is going to be like Superman's little arc. Man of Steel was the beginning of it. This is obviously ending the death of Superman, and Justice League. They're going to find a way to bring him back, and to be the end of his.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to that topic too.
Oh well, then go to it because
you want to get to the death of Superman.
No, just moving along. So,
okay,
we talked about your distaste for the dream sequences. My take on the dream sequences is this movie. You have to say this movie was a comic book movie made for comic book fans, and with that in mind, the dream sequences tied the theme of. They told Batman's origin really quickly. Then they introduced this idea and tied the thread through of the sacrifices of being a hero, both for Superman and Batman, and then tie them together with the Martha thing at the end. And then also the dream sequence, the nightmare sequence, does the job of kind of giving the audience, without actually coming out and having to say the exposition, it gives the audience the idea of, okay, Batman isn't just wanting to kill Superman like whatever. No, he has at the beginning of the movie saw and had his building destroyed because of Superman, so to speak. And then in the dream sequence, he's killed. He has his heart exploded by Superman. So, and he sees this world that in his mind is caused by Superman. So it's not like I saw some people say like, well, I don't even know why they're fighting. No, Batman. If you even have ever know anything about Batman, you know that he's very calculated and plans for everything that can possibly happen. He has a contingency for everything. So in this case, he has a vision that the future is going to look like that. He doesn't think, okay, that was just a stupid dream. No, he's like, I need to prevent that. And that's where right from there he hops on and reveals to Alfred that he actually has been trying to get the kryptonite the whole time, and he was lying about it.
And that was good. And again, I don't think that they should have taken that dream sequence out. I think it was great. The other two, I could have done without. I could have saved those few minutes and used them towards something more productive.
You were going to take out the beginning of the movie?
Yeah. We saw it Tim Burton, we saw it Chris Nolan.
But this is its own thing.
I know, but we don't need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne get shot.
Even though you said that the beginning of the movie you thought was excellent.
No, I meant Bruce Wayne driving through Metropolis.
You know what, though? But you kind of do need to see it. I'm sorry, but this is what I'm talking about. Seeing it done, this version that was literally like a shot-for-shot of the Dark Knight Returns version where the gun and the pearls and stuff. I mean, it's just cool. That's cool to see.
And I'll admit, the idea, the gun pulling back and breaking the pearls, it's super cool. But we've seen it in two different movies. Maybe not shot-for-shot, but we've seen that happen. We don't need to see it again. You can cut that out, and we can use those minutes towards, for instance, I've heard that this will be in the extended version, but I think it should have been in the shorter version. I think. Oh, there it goes. Sorry. I think we need to see just a scene where Batman is investigating who Superman is, and some indication of Superman. Just the little like you peeked. You know what I mean? Because it just is. Superman flies in, calls Batman Bruce. Bruce takes a step back. You know what I mean? But there's no fun to that.
Well,
which I know it's not supposed to be a fun scene.
The movie's it's not a fun. It's not. I'm not gonna say this. The movie's no fun because oh my god, seeing Batman and Superman just standing next to each other is fun. but it's not supposed to be a goofy, silly Marvel movie. That's the problem. You're looking for the one-liners and the quips and the ha.
Okay, but then they could throw in the "I'm a friend of your son's." I know it's the cape.
No, but that's the thing.
That's like the only joke in the movie.
No, that's bullshit. No, Alfred has plenty of little jokes, and Bruce is pretty girl. Don't quote me. Like, it's in there, but that's that's real life. It's more realistic. Like, we mentioned this while watching the movie, that during all that death and destruction in like Avengers, like where Tony Stark's over here making jokes. Like, in real life, if that was happening, they would have been like Mr. Stark, shut the fuck up. Like, kids are getting killed right now.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't do that. It's more realistic.
Maybe. I don't know. I felt like we should have seen a scene where we see Batman do some solid detective work and figure out.
Well, you do. You see
Clark Kent is Superman,
but he didn't figure that out.
Sure, he did.
I mean,
see the conversation between the two of them at the gala.
I mean, he was completely disinterested in Clark Kent.
No, he wasn't. It was a game of three-dimensional chess. They both knew who the other was.
See, I don't read it that way. He only became interested in Clark Kent once Clark Kent brought up Batman. If he knew he was Superman the whole time, then the second he would have said, Mr. Wayne, Clark Kent, Daily Planet, he would have been like, holy shit, I'm talking to Superman. No, he tells him, like, oh, pretty girl, don't quote me. Like, he doesn't care. He's looking at Wonder Woman, and also thinking about I have to in 7 minutes I have to get downstairs and get that thing. He's not.
So you think to that point he had no idea?
No, he didn't. No,
and it was after that he figures out that he's Clark.
Yeah, he figures out later. Well, he figured it out later on, but
yeah, because again, that's not shown in the movie.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be. That's what I'm talking about. Is the expose.
But it does have to be. That's the thing. It's not holding your hand. There's an old adage: show, don't tell. It doesn't have to be like, oh, and now, Alfred, I'm going to go figure out who Superman is. Hey, Alfred, I just got back from figuring out who Superman was. Turns out it's Clark Kent, and he's from Smallville, Kansas.
But that's what you're asking him.
That's clunky exposition.
No, but you're asking him to say, all right, you show Batman typing on a computer, and then he puts up two pictures, one of Clark Kent and one of Superman, and he goes, and scratches his beard, and now we know that he knows who it is.
No. All we need is one of the dozen scenes where Clark is looking mopily outside of a window.
Haven't we seen that before? You're arguing against your point.
Not in a film.
Yeah,
we've never seen Superman and Batman in a film.
We've
never once.
But we have that.
In the comics and in an animated movie.
Yeah, where they figure out who each other are.
Well, how many people have read the comics and watched the animated movies? Not general movie audience.
Well, I mean, the same amount of people who.
Most people would probably say, like, well, how did he know he was Bruce Wayne, and how did he know he was Clark Kent?
Well, Clark Kent followed him around and listened in on his conversation with Alfred.
Sure. But the other way around, not at all. Also, I have no idea.
Also, Clark Kent is
one of the scenes where you see Clark Kent staring off into the distance, being mopey, which a lot of people had a problem with. Like, this Superman is super mopey, which I get it. I disagree with them because he is weighing the conscience of, I don't know what to do with all this power. So many people are dying because I'm just around.
And Congress got bombed.
So I get, like, the people that are like, oh, this Superman's a whiny bitch. Like, I disagree with them. But one of the scenes where it just shows him staring off into the distance, all you have to do is when he was hearing Batman's transceiver, just have him hear in the distance, got him. And then he kind of looks around, and then the camera cuts over, and you just see Batman with the binoculars, like they did in was that Justice League War? No. Oh, that was in the animated series.
Yeah, and that's still, I don't know. That to me, that's the cartoony stuff.
That's not cartoony. It's not like he flies up to him and says, "Hey, Mister," like after that, it's just like he hears it, and then you see Batman with the binoculars, or maybe not even hear it. You see him standing out on the balcony in his Superman suit, and then he turns to walk in, and then it cuts over, and you see Batman with the binoculars. It could be a 15-second scene that just puts a connection in the audience mind. Oh, that this is where he figures out that he's Superman.
All right, fair enough.
They refuse to put that in.
Okay, well, I don't think they refuse to put it in. I think they pick and choose their battles of what they want to put.
But they did have a little boy fly up a well
for 30 seconds, and it was talking about it being.
I know the bats lift.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, I think that our talk shouldn't be about. I should have said this at the beginning. I don't know why you wanted our talk to be us debating the points of the movie. I was thinking that we're going to go about talking about like the big stuff in the movie and how exciting it is.
Oh no! I think we're getting to that.
I'm airing
my grievances,
which is Now you're being the whiny bitch, Superman.
I'm not trying to be a whiny bitch.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
hold on.
what Zack Snyder should have done differently. And more importantly, what Warner Brothers should have done differently.
In your opinion.
Because any movie where you have this big of a budget, the director's vision gets clouded by what the studio demands that they put in.
Well, the
studio demanded that they shoehorn in other Justice League characters.
But that's not accurate, because it's part of the story has been trying to get to Justice League from the beginning, and they have this. I mean, this is why you need to do your research. That they have a big room that has all the things that Deborah Snyder and Zack Snyder and David Goyer and Chris Terrio now and Jeff Johns, all of them are working on, and they have this all fleshed out. That's why they're able to have their movies fleshed out in 2020. They know where the story's going. They've had this all planned in.
But here's okay. Looking at this not from a content-wise, content structure, but looking at it from a movie structure, like action. Where do we see Wonder Woman open up her email and see the files? That's right during the confrontation between Batman and Superman, right? The one thing that we've
it's right before.
Okay, but they're building that action. Superman figures out that his mother's been taken. Which a lot of people say, oh, that's stupid, that's contrived, it was thrown in. But I think it's fine. I don't think that was a terrible decision. Again, I'd like to see how how Lex knows that Clark is Superman.
But Lex knew all along.
And that Lex knew that Bruce Wayne was Batman.
I mean, Batman's been operating for 20 years. Lex figured.
Sure.
And here's the thing. The importance. This is another thing. A lot of people forget about things that happened in Man of Steel. That these movies, that thread's so good. So just in Man of Steel, when they go to the Martha Kent's house and they try and find the rocket, Superman goes ape shit on Zod and them, and he says, furiously says, how dare you go to my mother? So once again, Martha Kent is attacked, and he goes freaking ape shit. That's just connected. It shows.
And Lex Luthor had a year and a half to put it together.
It's the same person. It's the same person. Anyway, okay, moving on.
Okay, no. The point I was going to make was, so you have this building of action, and then you cut to her in her hotel room or whatever it is, opening up her email. So thematically, with the course of the action, you're taking away from your big building action to show a scene of her opening her emails and watching these videos, and then back to the action. That scene should have taken place at a different time in the movie. It should have been moved.
Battle hadn't started yet.
Here's where I think it should have been moved. For me personally, I think they should have dropped the dirt rising off of the casket scene, because that totally deals away with the... Everyone knows that Superman's coming back, right? But for the one person in the audience who thinks, wow, they killed off Superman, and then you see the dirt, it's like, oh, well, then they didn't have to kill him off, because they're telling us already that he's coming back in the next movie. You know what I mean? You don't need to have that. Instead, you have Bruce walk up next to Wonder Woman. He hands her the drive. You don't have this email like, who are you? This is a picture of you. He just hands her the USB drive, and he says, we need to find the others, or whatever. What's the line he says to her? We need to find the others like us.
Like you.
Yeah, like you. And he walks away, and then it's not a post-credit scene, but the end of the movie is her opening up the emails and seeing the other characters. It's a teaser for what's coming up.
That's not a good end to a movie. That's not a good end to it. The movie ends with her clicking off her email after she watches the videos. That's a stupid end to a movie.
No. You see, okay, because if they're going to put in the logos for the characters, which is silly, who in the LexCorp, what intern, graphic designer came up with the lightning bolt, the Atlantean A, and the
time out. Okay. The only one there that doesn't make sense to me is actually the Cyborg one. But Flash, we know, is operating. So the Flash, the Flash,
with a suit and everything.
Well, you saw his suit. It's on the future, but I'm saying...
Well, in the future, but not at the time that video was made.
That we know of. The Flash has been... we know the Flash has been operating, basically it's like red blur, so to speak. But if he's been operating, then... And that's his symbol, Wonder Woman's been around for 100 years.
And she has the logo
That's
on
her symbol.
Yes.
And Aquaman also has his little A on his thing.
Okay, fair enough.
That's his symbol. The Cyborg, that one... Okay, but maybe that C was the program that... Because Silas Stone has it on Starlight's computer. Maybe that was the logo for the Cyborg program.
Fair enough.
So this is the thing. So you have to... That's why it goes back to my point. That you have to connect the dots. You have to be educated and think through it.
Well, don't call me.
No, I'm not saying you. No, I'm not.
But when I watched the movie, I remember seeing the logos and thinking like, well, how would they know that they're...
Yeah, you have to...
How would they know they're logos?
Because you have to... Because that's...
Well, and you know, like Mary, my wife, Mary, was saying to me after she watched the movie the next day, like, why did Aquaman just stare at the drone? And I was like, okay, that might be the first time he's ever even encountered a sub. I mean, we don't know at what point in connection the Atlanteans have with surface dwellers. That video might be the first time he's ever encountered anything from the surface dwellers.
Well, if they completely change his origin and he's not spent most of his life living on land.
Sure, but
which
I mean,
they probably wouldn't change.
We'll see. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people are like, why did he just sit there and stare at it for several seconds? I'm like, well, maybe he was trying to figure out whether or not he should attack it. But that's beside the point. He also then broke the sound barrier underwater, which I don't know if you can do that in physics.
I don't know if he broke the.
Well, he
just shot off really fast, like a burst. But anyway. He can swim at super speed. So
yeah, but it's beside the point. I just found that funny. So logos aside, I see it. You have the end of the movie. You have him pass off the thing. No, we have him pass off the thing. She opens up the files. You see her look at the videos. We don't even necessarily need to see all the videos. I mean, we just see the logos, and then it cuts over to the silver shield on the black casket, showing Superman's grave. You don't show the dirt come flying off of it. You just show Amy Adams then throw like the handful of dirt and turn walk away, and the movie ends on a somber note. But you get logo of the characters, and then you get Superman's shield, and end of movie.
All right. So enough with your version of how you would have made the movie and the actual content of the movie. We do have. So very briefly before we move on, because we've been taking quite some time here with this.
Let's just over an hour.
Let's just briefly discuss some of the Easter eggs that are quite exciting, I guess, at least for me.
I'm excited.
Okay, so for starters...
I gave the movie a 7.
No, it does. Okay, let's just... Alright, so for starters, that nightmare sequence. We get parademons, so the new gods exist, and they're coming. Also, Lex's whole spiel at the end of the movie. Which, by the way, Luthor has been a people love or hate. I personally found this version of Luthor to be very different, but I liked it.
I liked it.
I like Jesse's take.
I think anytime Eisenberg's on screen, he steals the show.
But and actually, after watching it this most recent time, one of my favorite scenes is him and Superman's talk on the roof of I'm assuming one of LexCorp's buildings in Metropolis before Superman
up on the helicopter
flies off. Yeah, and then he's like stepping back. And Mother of God, and he steps back into the helicopter. I found that to be a cool scene. But so his talking ping 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 at the end, and he's saying ding 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 ding, which I think of it as ping ping, the sound that mother boxes make when a boom tube's open. So that's all very exciting. And then we got this week. We got the clip, the deleted scene, which everybody's saying they think it's Steppenwolf. But a lot of people were saying, like, Steppenwolf doesn't, like, why does he look so weird like that? Well, I think that's another thing that goes back to Man of Steel. We know that the ship, their ships use that technology that's, like, makes that weird malleable metal. That, like, in Man of Steel, like, her face, Laurel's face came, it was like, Jor-El, behind you! Thing. That's what I was thinking he was saying, that it wasn't actually Steppenwolf looking like that or anything.
Yeah. I've heard Steppenwolf, I also heard...
Yuga Khan, Darkseid's dad.
Yeah.
I think that...
or some kind of demon, it's not necessarily...
No, it's definitely something from Apocalypse, because it's playing with mother boxes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was on, and it's all,
he does have a mother box with him, doesn't he?
He has 3.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
It's a dark club. Like, the lighting's really low.
I am betting it's probably Steppenwolf. But if it's Yuga Khan, that'd be cool too. If it's someone else, that'd be strange, but whatever.
Maybe it's Darkseid in weird battle armor.
Yeah, no, definitely. Darkseid is... They're holding him back to show him. But yeah, so that was cool. And the other, in the nightmare sequence, you mentioned before that it had the Injustice kind of feel, but the Darkseid feel too. And I mentioned we talked about this the first time we saw the movie, but I definitely think that that's showing us what's to come. One is Darkseid, and I think that's going to be Justice League 1. But then Injustice, I think, is what they're going to do a version of that for Justice League 2.
I think that they're definitely inspired by the Injustice.
And that's what I think the Flash was coming to tell him, like, Lois is the key, and you should be afraid of him, and all that kind of stuff, is saying that maybe we get Injustice in some way in Justice League 2, which would be crazy if... I mean, to be honest, Amy Adams was great. She does a great job as Lois Lane. But if they killed her off and Superman went crazy and they had to fight him, I think that'd be kind of cool.
I think it would be worth her death to see Injustice put to the big screen.
Yeah.
Because
now,
I love that plot line.
Yeah, now it would be... Now, they think Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice was dark. I mean, that movie...
Well, yeah, and I mean, truth be told, we're not going to see Superman become a Yellow Lantern, and we're not going to see, him...
Well, no, they wouldn't
kill Ganthet and Mogo and
none of these are going to be direct adaptations. But yeah, so the final thing to talk about, and then we can move on from the Easter eggs, is yes, the reveals. So we saw Flash, we saw Cyborg, who confirmed has New Gods technology in him, so we'll see him open up boom tubes and all that fun stuff. And this week we also got told that Cyborg is going to be showing up in the Flash movie.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that was announced, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago.
Okay.
Or something. So we know that Cyborg, we got the very brief origin of him getting. We don't know how he got hurt, so we'll have to hear more about that.
Right.
But we do notice that when they're talking and about the guy who lost his legs and he's spray painting the false god on the statue. If you look and see on the
veteran, yeah.
If you look on the other screen. There's a football game going on, and that's Victor Stone is the quarterback in that game.
Easter egg.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you don't see like his name on his jersey or anything, but he's the Metropolis High School football player. So I thought that was cool. Like, oh look, there's Victor Stone.
How do you feel about Ezra Miller being a Barry Allen with long hair?
I think it's cool.
I can believe in a universe where men fall from the sky and shoot laser beams out of their eyes. I had a hard time buying into a Flash with long hair.
Nah, I think it's a different take. I mean, that's like giving Aquaman long hair. Aquaman has had long hair before, but
Aquaman looks great.
But he doesn't look anything like
Jason Momoa?
Yeah, he doesn't. Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He doesn't look anything like the New 52 one, but that's okay. It's cool. It's a different take. I mean,
Gal Gadot was fantastic. I just learned it's pronounced Gadot. I thought it was Godot.
Nah, she
did a great job as Wonder Woman. I think her, grinning after being hit by Doomsday was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't like that when she comes on screen as Wonder Woman, there's like a weird electric guitar. I think it was like out of put for how fantastic the score is in this movie. I told you when we walked out of it that Lex Luthor's musical score, in my opinion, was one of the best parts of the film. And like the electric guitar for Wonder Woman, I thought was just kind of little campy.
Oh no, absolutely. I absolutely disagree. And this is, we were listening to the soundtrack because it came out a week before the movie, so we'd heard it all before and kind of could assume what was happening. But that's that's hinted throughout multiple times that you get that theme is, and it might not necessarily even be the Wonder Woman theme, but the title of the song is She With You? So, but it might be more this just kind of like Justice League, because that song also plays when they're showing the clips of the other Justice League members. So, I mean, I think that each one of them, you have to view it as each one of them has their own instrumentation. So the percussion is very much Batman. The Superman theme from Man of Steel comes back, Hans Zimmer's one, and then they add this little that the guitar bit is Wonder Woman joining the club. And I thought it was very well done. If you listen to that track with the three components, hearing the three of them together and how they intermingle, and imagine each one of them being one of the characters, kind of like a Peter and the Wolf thing going on.
Oh yeah,
it's good, and that's what they're going for. And Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL are geniuses. They know what they're doing. So revisit that track with that in mind, and it'll completely change your opinion on it. It's not campy. It's representing each one of them doing their thing. But yeah, so. Overall, I guess I love the movie. I've spent probably way too much money on it, but I'm excited for the extended version to see what else is going on there.
I totally see. I heard it's an R-rated cut.
Yeah, it's just for the extra violence.
I think the fight with Doomsday was great. A lot of people are like, well, he doesn't have these weird explosion powers. It was great.
Well, and the other thing is that nobody mentioned this that I've seen, but they just gave Superman the explosion power and didn't just do it, but over the past.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, it was a version of that.
Then he loses his powers.
And this was straight from the Kryptonian body. It was a version of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, some people were like, well, why the heck when Doomsday got stronger, he could fly? Well, he was made a Kryptonian.
A lot of people have made complaints about, like, that... all right, a lot of people have made complaints about Batman killing. I think we should address that. It did take me out of the movie. a little bit, because I feel like if you could have written this movie where Batman
Actually, hold on a
didn't
second.
have to kill.
No, hold on a second. I actually was thinking about this, and this is our final thought on this, and then we're moving on to our last thing. But I actually was thinking about this, and I know you're going to say that okay, that's kind of a cop out. But I was thinking about it, and actually, there is a high. So remember, these are arms dealers and smugglers.
By the way, just to say, I know you guys listening can't tell. He's got this look on his face like he's about to tell me something that's going to make me go, no.
Well, just hear me out. So these guys were smugglers. The only time we see quote unquote Batman killing, we never see Batman directly kill anyone except for the nightmare sequence. Just listen. You don't actually see him pull a trigger in someone's face and kill that person. You see people die because of something that happens. Listen, just shut up and listen.
Yes, okay.
Okay, no, so here's what I'm saying, is if they have, because we see that they have RPGs and lots of explosives. So, for example, when he's shooting the car, and it's hitting the car, and then he's shooting the car, and it doesn't explode when he's shooting it. It's then he hits it, and then the car explodes. So if they had RPGs there, he hit it, rammed the car to move, and one of the rockets went off in the car and blew up the car. I mean, that's not technically... Did Batman kill him? Yeah, but it's not... So my thought is, he could be maybe using concussive rounds or something, but if they hit one of those explosives, it's going to explode and kill us. Because if you see...
Or we can just go with what's more obvious, which is this version of Batman, just like this version of Superman, are... They don't have as much of a hang-up as in the comics as they do with killing people.
Well, here's the thing, and I think what it is that they're not okay with killing. But if it happens...
well, clearly not, or we wouldn't have Suicide Squad.
No, what I'm saying...
How are Joker
listen,
Killer Croc and whatnot alive?
This is what I'm talking... See, that's the argument I've read a lot, and it's kind of like... I don't know, it's kind of a stupid argument, because this isn't them... Like, there's a difference between them actively killing, which they're not doing. They're not actively killing people... or people just dying for, not saving them. Kind of like what Batman does in the Christopher Nolan movies plenty of times. Like, it's, for instance, when he shoots Anatoly's fire gun at the end there, he doesn't shoot him. If he wanted to, he could have shot him in the head and killed him. But he didn't. He shot the thing, which stopped him. Now, when it blew up, which, by the way, I actually don't think KG Beast is dead, because he, in the comic books, loses some limbs, and that's how he gets his... So I think that he might come back. But... when he shoots that, if he's dead, that's on him. He shot that to disarm him and then saved her. And that's what this Batman is mostly doing, is shooting to disarm or something, but then when he rams your car and it explodes, you die. Well, you're shit out of luck. You're dead. So I think that's what it...
Or when you throw a grenade and then you try to jump off.
And that was that guy's fault. That guy jumped to the grenade. He didn't have... If he would have jumped in front of it instead of trying to catch his grenade, that guy's an idiot. He would have lived and the other guy would have too. That's not Batman's fault. But... My final thought, seeing it again yesterday, and what really just made me be like, no, you know what, I really do actually love this movie. And what kind of gave it the 9.5 solidified for me was just, at the end, when you're standing there seeing Batman and Wonder Woman standing there with Superman's dead body, I was just taking a very, very good look at Wonder Woman and at Batman, and I was like, holy shit, do they look cool. Like, this Batman costume, we've talked about this plenty of times, but this Batman costume is just literally ripped off the page. And it's not like, the Nolan costume was cool. I hate all the other movie costumes.
Well, and we can agree that Christian Bale's Batman voice was silly and off-putting. Like,
in The Dark Knight.
His Batman
voice in Batman Begins is fine, and his Batman voice in Dark Knight Rises is better. In The Dark Knight, which is the best of the three probably, but The Dark Knight Batman.
Swear to me.
That one wasn't.
But this, I mean, I would personally say that this is my favorite Batman, and I know a lot of people are saying like Michael Keaton is the best Bruce Wayne,
which I don't know where they get that idea. Michael Keaton is just weird. That movie's just weird. But anyway, so in a nutshell, the summary points: Easter eggs, cool. Batman, awesome. Wonder Woman, terrific. Even a lot of people give Superman crap. I think that Henry Cavill's a great Superman. You have to think about what he's dealing with. Unlike a lot of other Supermen, he's
before we go on, that was the other scene that we didn't need. Him going and talking to his ghost dad.
Actually, this is that was him. envisioning his dad. But also, that actually that talk was kind of goes back to what I was talking about, the Martha Wayne thing happening for Bruce. The flip of that was having Clark have Jonathan to have that realization that you in your most heroic moments there's still going to be casualties, there's still going to be collateral damage, and that you can't
No. I like the story. I like the point. But, well, first of all, why was Superman wearing a hat and walking? I mean, he's Superman. He doesn't need a hat, right?
Because, no, but if he gets seen,
if he was walking up
when he was walking up that mountain or wherever he was, like getting food or something. I mean, I know Superman. I mean, remember all this stuff humanizes Superman. It humanizes him.
Sure.
Every scene like that humanizes him.
The scene for me was just kind of silly.
Have you seen the movie twice?
Once.
You saw it once, go see it again. Just go see it again, and everybody, even Kevin Smith, went and saw it again, and he was taken.
I don't know. I feel like that particular scene, it was just like, oh, we have Kevin Costner for,
I know. I don't think
he's on the budget. We need to put him in a scene.
But that's not. I don't think that's. No, remember, it was Chris Terrio doesn't write movies like that, man. Like,
I don't know.
Anyway,
if they would explain that away with some kind of Kryptonian technology, but like just to see him have like, because the thing is, he would have had to have known that story in order to recall it in his vision.
He did. He was he did know that. He was imagining what his dad would tell him. Like
either that or he made up a story for his dead dad.
No, I think no. He was imagining what his dad would tell. People do that when they lose a loved one. They imagine I feel like literally. Remember, he feels isolated and he isolated himself and he's imagining like I really miss my dad. What would my dad tell me?
Like what is going to happen in Star Wars Episode 8, where John Boyega comes back and tells Rey
imagine what John Boyega
about that time that he flooded a valley. A bunch of horses died, or womp rats. A bunch of womp rats died. All right. There are many other things that we could go on talking about Batman and Superman, but we do want to get this wrapped up.
More things that you could complain about it.
No. Actually, the one thing that I really did like was the religious symbolism. I feel like not enough people give it credit. The flipping of the painting, the showing of hell, heaven, and hell, and the kind of baptism for both Superman and Lex Luthor. One comes out of the water, makes Doomsday. One comes out with the Kryptonite Spear to kill Doomsday. I think there was a lot of interesting stuff there, and I think that Zack Snyder was really intelligent to put that type of stuff in. But we want to end this on a high note, so we are going to talk about I'm calling it Clash of the Tights, our super-powered matchup for the week, which is not Batman versus Superman. What we're going to be doing every week is giving our take on two different combatants, and then we're going to be putting it up. I'll put it up on my Twitter that you can vote to see which one you guys think would be the champion to come out of this battle. This week we have Optimus Prime and Iron Man.
Optimus Prime from the Transformers, and Iron Man
from the Iron Man
from the Avengers.
Now, both of these are the film incarnations, and I'm going with the most recent film incarnations for their equipment.
Can you explain to me and the live studio audience why did you choose these two individuals?
I was sitting back and just thinking about, really, my first thought was like Hulk Hogan versus Dog the Bounty Hunter. But then I realized that, first of all, Dog the Bounty Hunter has gadgets and stuff.
Yeah, and John Boyega versus Life Support.
But here's the thing. I'm not convinced that Dog the Bounty Hunter and Hulk Hogan aren't the same person. Alright, hear me out. No, hear me out on this. First of all, one of them has gadgets and fights crime. They both say brother a lot, although one of them says brada. They're both weird, jacked, blonde dudes that are about the same age. And one of them's name, now I know it's not his real name, but his character name, happens to be an alliteration, like Peter Parker or Clark Kent. We have Hulk Hogan, who his superhero is Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dude, that's a comic book. It wrote itself. He uses bear mace. He has gadgets.
You're right.
Anyway, our matchup is Optimus Prime and Iron Man. I just chose him on a whim. I thought, kind of robotic. Now, this is not, I'm not going Hulkbuster suit Iron Man. We're not making this a big thing. Here's our tale of the tape. Optimus Prime comes in at 28 feet tall, weighing 4.3 metric tons. He has an ion blaster, as well as dual energon blades, which he can use as swords or hooks.
What is energon?
Energon is the energy that all Transformers
So
live
he dual wield swords from Halo.
Yeah, they burn at 1,000 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
And can do a lot of damage. Now, we also have Iron Man in the Mark 45 armor. This is the first armor that he has created using vibranium instead of a golden steel alloy, whatever it was that he used in the earlier versions.
He got a little jealous of Cap's shield and decided to one-up him, as Tony Stark would regularly do.
He made that sweet suit armor that he had in Age of Ultron.
Also, just an aside, the conflict of interests here, I actually kind of hate Iron Man. The character, not even Robert Downey Jr. He
hates Iron Man, and I hate all of the Transformer movies.
No, I'm not talking about the movies. I just don't like the character of Iron Man that much.
But
that's my bias. That's what I'm saying. I'm declaring my conflict of interest. My biases aside.
And just because you don't like him doesn't mean you can't.
No, that's
view
fine.
it as a proper combatant.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So go ahead.
For Iron Man, he has his repulsors as well as the Unibeam. Now, when he uses the Unibeam, it does use up about 30% of his suit's armor and power, and it takes a little bit to charge. Now, if anyone gets on there and says, "Oh, you didn't bring in Optimus Prime's barrage cannon," I thought about it, but it's way too overpowered, and it's not. I don't think it works for this particular circumstance. I mean, when you have something that shoots over 60 miles, laser targeted a bomb with like 3,000 pounds of TNT, it's not really like a one-on-one fight. That's like something you're going to be using against a helicarrier or whatever.
I think you're getting a little too in depth here. Keep up with the. So what's going next?
So for me, here's how I see the fight going. I don't think Optimus, even being cool and alien from another planet, is going to be able to keep up with his ion blaster fast enough to hit Iron Man in the Mark 45 armor. He can fly supersonic. Now, that being said, I don't think his repulsors are going to do jack shit to Optimus Prime. I mean, he's made out of that Cybertronian transformium or whatever Stanley Tucci called it in the movie.
Something that's not even on the periodic table.
When he turned it into a Beats pill, and then he turned it into like My Little Pony or whatever. When Michael Bay had to shoehorn in all of the product placement he could, and was like, "Stanley, just do all this shit."
Yeah.
So I think it's going to come down to these two getting in close, and those dual energon weapons are going to be. I mean, we saw how much damage heat-based weapons can do to an Iron Man armor in Iron Man 3. So if he comes swinging down, he's going to cut off Tony's arm. Metal, arm, metal. Now, I know that this suit's vibranium, but I don't know what the melting point of vibranium is.
Well, we have to.
It's not adamantium.
We have to assume it's super high because Cap has been in some pretty hot situations, and he has some pretty hot things and explosions that he protects himself with that shield. He's fine with. So
now we do know that Iron Man's suit is strong enough that he would be able to lift Optimus, even him being over 4 tons, because we saw him lift all that crazy shit in Wachovia. In Sokovia, yeah. In Age of Ultron.
Right, you're Wakanda, Sokovia, Wachovia.
That's what I did there. So I'm a little torn. I feel like if he can manage to hit him with the Ion Blaster, I mean, we saw that thing punch through Transformers' heads. So I think he could Optimus might be the winner. But if it gets up in close, I don't know if he's even going to be able to land a blow. I mean, it's like a bulldog trying to catch a fly. You know what I mean? There's a huge size difference. So I think Iron Man might get in close, get right up on that Energon heart matrix or whatever it is, and unibeam him right through the chest. So, for me, I think speed is going to weigh out over strength in this contest.
All right.
What's your take?
Well, here's my take. Let's look first at Optimus Prime. And we're not even. I'm gonna look at the other side of this, the more, I guess, intellect-based properties of these characters. So Optimus Prime, master tactician and strategist. He leader of the Autobots and he plans that stuff pretty well. He was a general,
and has been for like hundreds of years.
That's what I'm saying. And he's a general, and even in Beast Wars, it was another Prime. The Primes are like the super warriors and all that kind of jazz. So going into that fight, Tony Stark's a smart guy, but he's also not smart when it comes to making those battle decisions.
True that, he is pretty brash.
Yeah, and he doesn't think that kind of stuff through. That's why he always needs Captain America telling him, well, here, let's do this. Like, remember when he says, like, I have a plan, attack.
Yeah.
You know? He doesn't, so, for me, it's always going with a plan, and you're going to end up winning. So I think that if they have the prep time to, remember, Optimus Prime will know what he's up against, and he'll have a plan to fight. So that, for me, that win Optimus. However, Tony Stark has the mechanical knowledge and genius that he might be able to figure out and have Jarvis use something to mess with his AI. Optimus's AI do a virus or something, or a nanotech.
I want to consider that.
And
now, I will say, I forgot to mention off the top of this, all of our battles are 1v1 combat, and they are set up in an arena that does not favor either of them.
Well, what I'm saying is that I think that in that set situation, that if Iron Man is able to come up with some tech that will just shut down Optimus's...
Well, yeah, if he can shut down his CPU, that's an automatic win, I
So
suppose.
I'm going to have to pick Iron
Man.
I'm going to have to pick Iron Man, because I think Iron Man would figure out a way. Optimus would have a better plan for the battle, but they wouldn't even have to start fighting, because Tony Stark could come in there and release something off his Iron Man suit that attaches to Optimus's leg, and then deletes his software.
So you think out of the gate, if they both had time to prep, he would have some kind of
he created Ultron, and he created...
by accident.
Yeah, so I think he could create something to shut off giant talking
Fair enough.
truck robot. So win Iron Man.
And
there
you know what? And that was a unanimous decision. So that's how we feel about it, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. And again, I'll be putting up the poll.
Also, why did you keep calling him Stanley? I thought it was Sam Witwicky.
No, Stanley Tucci, the actor. He was the one that was like, maybe a Beats pill,
yeah,
or maybe this.
I don't remember the Transformer movies at all.
They're shit.
I think I fell asleep.
Each one is worse than the last. They're just...
They even got rid of Megan Fox, which was like the best part of the first one.
Yeah. Well, and then in the last one, like all the Transformers were like, they're all just racial stereotypes.
They brought in dinosaurs too.
Yeah, but they were only in it for a couple minutes, and then out of nowhere, Optimus is like, now go and be free, and he just lets them off. The Chinese government's gonna be pissed that there's giant robot monsters just wandering the wilderness.
That's actually the prequel to, remember We're Back, that dinosaur movie? That was the prequel. It's Transformers, Age of Extinction.
Oh, man.
All right, well, you have nothing to add?
No, I don't have anything. Nothing for you?
All right, well then...
We will work on our endings.
Signing off.
Bye-bye.